next job all about?
I need to find a saltpetre pit.
Never a wasted word, eh, Kreyzl?
Short and to the point. That's my credo.
And how long will it take before you tell me what a saltpetre pit is?
A saltpetre pit is a pit in which saltpetre is formed.
Saltpetre is niter. That I know. They're white crystals similar to salt. But I have no idea what you might need it for here at the mill. Or is it supposed to be some peculiar Kreyzl wedding gift for young Semine?
Nothing of the sort. The Kabbalistic doctrine speaks of saltpetre as a vessel for the inexhaustible essence of life. Those white crystals are said to contain the very essence of being. That's precisely what we need to give life to our Golem. Thanks to the ingredients from Hermes Trismegistos, his feet will never get tired, and his fists will have the power to smash rocks. But saltpetre is the most important thing. Saltpetre will be the Golem's heart.
So you're serious about this Golem? And are you certain it'll work out?
Certainly. Otherwise, I wouldn't even try.
How much saltpetre will it take to bring to life such a big creature?
A lot. That's why I want you to find me a decent saltpetre pit. Do you understand?
I was hoping I'd learn something useful from you. But instead, you're making me wander around the countryside looking for some pit.
Well, you never know when an experience like that might come in handy.
All right, then. I'll look around for that saltpetre pit of yours. I just hope you know where to look, that you can point me in the right direction, and also that you'll get me into that wedding as a reward.
Yes, yes, and yes. Bonnie has a lead. She's a damned handy girl to have around. She can do anything you ask of her. But for you, the most important thing is that she knows how to look for niter, or saltpetre if you prefer.
So this Bonnie is some kind of witch who's in on this Golem stuff.
Bonnie is someone I trust without question, and you should too. Not only will she teach you how to find saltpetre, but also how to differentiate it from common salt. The main difference is it has kind of cooling taste.
Hold your horses. You want me to taste that nasty stuff?
If you don't taste it, you could confuse it with some nasty rot. You don't want that.
Damn right.
Don't be such a lily-liver, Henry. If Bonnie can taste saltpetre, so can you. She'll tell you the rest herself. You'll find her in the lair. That's a secret storage space I have here just by the pond. Only my best people can get in.
You have a secret storage space? You're full of surprises, Kreyzl.
What's so surprising about that?
Well, actually, it makes sense. I reckon you can't just make a Golem in the mill. So how do I get to this lair?
There's a bridge over the mill stream towards the southwest. Take the path to the left, just behind it along the pond. From that path, you turn right, uphill, between the rocks, and you'll find yourself right in front of the lair. You can't miss it. Oh, and so I don't forget. You could pick some herbs along the way to see Bonnie. It would make her very happy. She's just been through some tough times. Her dog died, and on top of that, she has to spend time with that blabbermouth Zinnik. On the other hand, Zinnik might be holding his tongue for a while after his encounter with the Troskowitz stocks.
If Bonnie spends time with Zinnik, she may want some spirits rather than herbs.
Bonnie? Never. Being a decent Christian, she avoids alcohol like the plague. Right along, so you're back as soon as possible.
To the lair. What was that noise? Woodcutters. Good day.
Jesus Christ be praised.
I'm Henry, Miller Kreyzl's new apprentice. He sent me to search for a niter pit, and said you might be able to help me with that.
Of course I will. I'm Bonnie. Nice to meet you.
Bonnie? It's not a name I hear often.
It's not the name I was baptized with. In our craft, it ain't a good idea to tell people your real name. That's why we use nicknames. What should we call you?
Henry's fine.
Well, that's not very creative. You know what? I'll come up with a nickname for you myself when I get to know you better. Did you bring me something from the mill?
Actually, Kreyzl said you'd appreciate some herbs.
He's right there. Do you have some for me?
I've got something here.
My word, that's exactly what I need. The ingredients for the magic ritual.
What kind of magic ritual?
The kind where Zenek finally gets some sense into his head and stops making stupid beginner's mistakes. Just so you know, that mess with the author of Hermes Trismegistos would never have happened to me. Not me. While we're on the subject of rituals, did Kreyzl tell you about the Golem?
He did.
And what do you think of it?
Well, I'm curious to see what a golem made of flour will look like, but I'm mostly curious to see if Kreyzl will really be able to breathe life into it with the help of saltpetre.
I'm more worried that as soon as it comes to life, it'll slay us all with one blow. So, if by some chance it looks like something's going wrong, you won't see my heels for dust. And I suggest you do the same. But that's enough of that. We're not going to stand here talking about flower golems when we've barely just met. I'd like to chat with you too, Henry. Get to know you a bit. But if you're in a hurry to find Kreyzl saltpetre, I won't keep you.
No. I have plenty of time. But where to start?
You know what? I'll start. When they caught Zenek in Troskovitz, I was scared out of my mind that they'd catch me and clap me in the stocks. I had to hide out here for a while, so I haven't had anyone to talk to. Life in the lair isn't all fun and games. Zenek and all the other mill knuckleheads were never worth much as company. So I'm glad the miller's finally found a normal hand for once. You've got a beautiful dog. What's his name?
Mutt.
What a cute fella. How did you find each other?
He belonged to this girl I knew, Teresa. She saved my life in my hometown, Skalitz, when I went to bury my parents.
Well, That's what I call an interesting past. I used to have a dog, but I don't anymore.
He died.
He started getting these lumps all over his body. He stopped eating, just slept all the time. And then, well, what's done is done. And what about you? What kind of family are you from? Also, thieves?
No. Pa was a blacksmith. I inherited something from him, I hope.
Oh, really? Would you teach me how to make, maybe, barrel hoops?
Those are pretty hard. Wouldn't you rather start with, maybe nails?
Sure. I'm pretty quick to learn and patient. That is, with one exception. When Kreyzl starts spouting off his alchemy theories, I'd rather run for the hills. What do you think of the old miller, anyway?
I don't know what to say to that. I still don't know him all that well.
I understand. Best not to bite the hand that feeds you for no good reason. Thanks for talking to me. It really is good to have someone to pour my heart out to. But now, about that saltpetre. Before you came, And before Zenek fucked up with the manuscript, we collected saltpeter all over the place, mainly in sties. It has to be scraped from the walls. Horrible work, time-consuming and annoying. I'm not going to lie to you. We also looked in a few chests, just in case. You know. Anyhow, now all the sties in the region are scraped clean and we're sitting pretty on a nice barrel of saltpeter.
The barrel isn't much.
But we did bloody thorough job. Unfortunately, Kreyzl said we need at least 6 times as much.
6 times? Will one saltpeter pit be enough?
I reckon so. There should be as much as Kreyzl needs for his masterwork. If you're looking for it, you ought to know how saltpeter forms. Do you have any idea?
Certainly. You take a damp wall, like in a sty, you let the water evaporate from it, and you get this salty bloom.
That's right. But like I told you, all the sty walls in the region are scraped clean and we can't wait. Don't forget that saltpeter crystals are formed in places where something is rotting. It can be shit or carcasses. Well, a saltpeter pit is actually nothing more than a mass grave. The best natural saltpeter maker.
Kreyzl said saltpeter is a vessel for life energy. I get it that it's left over from dead bodies, but how do you get it from shit?
God's mysterious ways. You know how it is.
And he also wanted me to taste it. That's nonsense though, isn't it?
Unfortunately, it isn't. Otherwise, you won't know if it's saltpeter or some other shit. It feels kind of cold on the tongue.
Jesus. And you know where to look for such a pit full of carcasses, do you?
Not exactly, but I have an idea. Times are evil and there's plenty of corpses. A person who's digging holes and throwing dead bodies into them and doesn't even know he's got a a saltpeter mine.
You mean a knacker?
Exactly. And the one we have here in the region is also the gravedigger.
Ah, the gravedigger Ignatius. I've already met him. He lives outside Troskowitz in the direction of Apollonia, right?
Aye, that's him.
So I'm in for a walk to the cemetery.
Seems like it. Too bad you couldn't have walked around the county with us before. It was fun. And pretty useful experience. I learned a lot during that time, and I won't keep it to myself. I'd be happy to teach you something, if you want.
I'll keep that in mind.
That old gravedigger will be suspicious, so I'd bring him some kind of offering. He's always dragging those carcasses, so I'm sure he'd appreciate a slab of fresh meat from Troskowitz butcher.
Good idea.
He lives a short way from the cemetery, so at least the meat won't go bad on the way. Lots of luck.
Long time no see, eh?
Kreyzl gave you another job.
Yeah. I proved myself to him last time, so why not continue our collaboration?
Did you come here to make fun of me? Just like Bonnie? As soon as she showed up, she gave me hell over that manuscript.
No, not at all. I just need to find out something only you would know. What can you tell me about Bonnie?
Well, you mean Cheeks or Jezebel?
Are those nicknames?
Dunger, Snowdrop, Vixen... We always come up with the stupidest names, and nobody sees through them anyway. Bonnie's been here the longest, and has the most experience. I'm surprised she still puts up with Kreyzl and his mad notions. And I think she likes animals more than people. When I try to talk to her about work or weather, she gets bored.
What sort of place is this?
Our secret place, where we can quietly plot sneaky plans for our beloved Miller.
Behind that boarded up door? What's inside that cliff?
You know, storage, rubbish, rats, filth. Look, I know Bonnie ordered me to clean up in there. Thanks to you, I'm sure the movement of goods will start again soon. So it'd probably be good to have some order around here. I just haven't got round to it yet.
So, Zinek, have you any experience with saltpetre?
Oh, I never want to see that shit again. I still have the taste of it in my mouth. And Bonnie and me was taking turns tasting it.
Weren't you afraid a dead soul would enter you through it?
What? What are you babbling about?
Dead souls pass time in niter crystals, don't they? That's why the miller is looking for them. To bring the golem to life.
You fool! We're looking for saltpetre to sell to butchers for salting meat. There's good coin in it.
Well, the miller told me something different.
You can't believe everything he says. A golem in the mill. He's yanking your pizzle.
You're all just trying to confuse me.
Kreyzl's a good teacher. You know how it is.
What do you know about the gravedigger?
Not much to know. He's half gravedigger and half knacker. He takes care of both dead people and animals.
I'd never have figured that out without your help. Anything more interesting?
He's my father. And he's a wizard, same as me.
Yeah, right.
It's true. I was born the seventh son of a seventh son. I have the power of clairvoyance and I can raise the dead. I'm just hiding out with the miller until my time comes. I've been chosen to save the world.
Yeah, nice story. But if I'm going to get the miller some saltpetre, I need to know something useful.
Oh, aye. You're not much fun, are you? The gravedigger's as boring as you are. Also, he knows when he's being lied to, and he hates it. So don't even try it.
You see? That's the kind of thing I wanted to know. Was that so hard? What did you do before you started working for the miller?
A bit of this, a bit of that. When I was still a boy, I stirred lye at a tannery, and then I slaved away at a dye house. But since I came to the town, it's been, well, let's say not exactly honest work. But that's what I'm best at, see?
Why do you work for the miller?
Well, how can I put it? Anywhere else, they'd have kicked me out by now. The miller's the last person who'd still give me a job. He says every idiot is of some use at least.
And you see that as a compliment?
I see a coin in my hand every week. That's all I care about.
What do you think of Kreyzl?
Is this some kind of test or what? I can think what I want and I keep my opinion to myself. And you ought to do the same.
You're always welcome here, noble sir.
Ignatius, I'm gonna need your help.
Of course. How many are there? Where do you want to bury them? Shall we grind the teeth up, or do you want to take them away in your purse?
None of that. I have a different, slightly unusual request. Bonnie from Lower Semine sent me. We're looking for a saltpetre pit.
From Lower Semine? What pit?
A saltpetre pit.
I ain't never heard of nothing like that. What's it supposed to be? A pit to hell?
Nah, it's actually just a pit full of carcasses. These white crystals form on the walls of it, and that's exactly what we're after.
Ah, now I get it. You should have said you're looking for the pit I throw carcasses into. What's all this about Saltpetre? I'm going to go there anyway, so I'll take you there.
Really? That was easier than I thought.
Not even a chicken scratches in the dirt without hope of reward, though. You'll help me with something first. I have some collections from some Stratego farmsteads, and I'd be a fool if I didn't use a helping hand. At least one day I can take it a bit easy.
You want me to help you with your grave digging business?
Why not? You look like a strong fella. You'll be a good helper.
Oh, dragging carcasses around isn't exactly a respectable job. But so be it. I'll help you with it. What else can I do?
Grave digging is a job like any other. Sooner or later, everyone needs our services. And if it wasn't for us knackers, folk would have to deal with their animal carcasses themselves.
Of course, I understand. I'm just a little worried about what people will say about me when they see me with you. I wouldn't like to lose the honor I've earned as squire to a nobleman.
Don't worry about what people say. They'll only strip you of your honor if you let them. So what then? Shall we take a nice little ride with my boys Snorter and Dragonfly here? Nice and early, at daybreak.
Let's get this over with then.
The dew is still on the leaves. The roads are clear. You don't need your horse. I'll stable him here. It'll be heaven for him. In any case, heaven's always close here. Hop on the wagon and Snorter and Dragonfly here will take care of us. We've got a long journey ahead of us, so get yourself comfortable so your arse won't hurt. So, you say you're from Lower Semine, eh?
Well, not exactly. I'm not even from this region. I'm only doing some work for the miller.
I remember Kreyzl when he was still a wee lad. Even then he was a great big smart-ass. When I buried his parents, he was traipsing somewhere through the world. Maybe you heard what they say about Lower Semine round these parts. Kreyzl don't sell short measure, not that. He looks out for his reputation, but his helpers have been seen often in the villages after dark, looking fishy. Or during the day, in the pillories. Don't that bunny of yours belong to that gang too?
Bonnie's an honest girl, and her friend Zinek is too. Kreyzl only sent them to scrape saltpetre off the walls of the sties, so that's just what they've been doing. From what she told me, they had nothing else in mind.
Lower Semine's a thorn in the side for a lot of folk. Some on account of the competition. Some is just rubbed up the wrong way by that Kreyzl. Either way, all they need's the slightest excuse to grab their pitchforks. Go and grab the miller and shove his face right in his own millstone. Lazy bones. Yeah! Yeah! Whoa, boys! Whoa! Come on! Come on! Are you deaf? Oh, they're acting stubborn again. Now listen, Henry. Here on the left side, you'll see the ruins of a cottage that's been abandoned for a few years.
I can't see a thing through those bushes.
You'll go and have a close look. Don't worry. I have a trap set inside the cottage. I wanted to lure a wolf into it, but that didn't work out. There's a deer rotting there unnecessarily. So hop in there and bring it to the wagon. Finally. At least we're not blocking the road too much.
Oh, Jesus, what a stench. Better quickly throw it in a sack and take it back to the wagon.
What do you mean already? What lackeys? I've no idea what you're... Hey!
Put that carcass down and get over here. You hear me?
What's going on, Ignatius?
Ah, I'm trying to explain to these fellas we've got nothing to do with no thieving around here. They should go to Lower Semine to complain.
2 stinking pieces of shit was sneaking around our sties and cellars and lining their purses with silver too while they was at it. Some scruffy and dunger. You must be scruffy, eh?
I'm Henry, and those, names mean nothing to me.
Like I said, if it's rotten carrion they're after, they should have come to me. A passion for knacking is the only thing we have in common.
Is that so? So prove it then.
Take a good look at me. Do I look like a thief? Or more like a commonplace, maybe just slightly grubby, hired hand? At this rate, you could blame any old peasant who's grimy after a hard day's work.
I don't know. I don't reckon I've ever seen a real thief up close.
Ask around about me and you'll find out everyone knows I can't stand a liar. I'll keep my promises and show up on time. So enough talk and let's carry on to where duty calls us.
All right, listen. We'll be going then. But if you happen to run into them 2 thieves, you tell us right away. Got it?
Of course.
You can count on it.
Glad to hear it. Let's go, fellas. Maybe... Did I
What's
get this
next?
right? Maybe...
Are we going?
The one with that shape.
Not much left for us to do here, eh?
Hopefully our luck will hold out, and we'll only be breaking the limbs of carcasses today. The next farm's just up ahead. Hop on, and let's go. Here we come, Snorter. Don't worry. That was just a kind of little favour for me. Now we'll help the locals here in Jdar with their carcasses.
So far, I've just carried sacks. I already did that for the miller.
Yesterday, the good wife from that farm came and told me both their pigs died. So we'll scoop them up and haul them off. I mean, you'll scoop them up and haul them to my cart. She says it was a curse. There was a flash of lightning, the pigs started trembling, squealing and puking, and then keeled over and dropped dead.
All right, that's what you get. People sin here in their seclusion, thinking they're out of sight of our Lord.
It ain't my first day doing this job, so I could see right off them pigs had been poisoned. The good wife swore them pigs were happy as, well, pigs in shit. She said they even let them go to a nearby stream to have a wallow. It flows here through the forest on the right. Since we're here, you ought to go and take a look around there. Check how clear that spring really is.
All right. I'll see what's going on there.
And I'm going to enjoy having a helper. At least for one day. Maybe I'll roll around in the grass here with Snorter and Dragonfly.
Those pigs came here to drink. Where to now? I can smell something upstream. Ah, here it is. Wolves must have killed them. He didn't even eat them up. I'll go and tell Ignatius. Jesus, this is disgusting.
They live like royalty here.
You're always welcome here, noble sir.
I'd rather go back to sacks of flour.
Do you want to keep going or not?
It really wasn't a curse. There are rotting carcasses in the water upstream from the watering spot. No wonder the pigs caught some disease.
Well, what do you know? I was right. I'll give you a hand. It'd take you all night on your own. Do you want to keep going or not?
I took care of the carcasses. We can drive on.
Nice work. There's even a bit of meat left for me.
Yeah, you'd eat that. They've been lying there God knows how long.
But nicely in the cold. There's nothing wrong with it. Anyway, you won't be eating it, so don't worry about it. Let's keep going. Now, lads, seeing as how you don't obey me, you're surely horsing around today. So far it ain't that bad, eh? You don't have to take down no hanged man or bury an unbaptized child.
Well, ever since I started working for the miller, all I did was carry sacks. The sack makers here in the region must live like kings. Of course, it could be a lot worse.
I like having to carry sacks full of thistles. Now listen to me closely. You won't be carrying anything at the next farmstead. Instead, you'll have to make one carcass there. See, the work of a knacker ain't just about clearing away dead animals. Now and then you've got to put down some creature, so it don't suffer. Or, like today, to put it down so everyone around it don't have to suffer. In this case, we're talking about a dog.
Well, what can I do? But I doubt I'll feel good about it.
That cur belongs to the greengrocer, Visar. I've heard they're both pretty fierce. Don't draw too much attention to yourself at the farmstead. I'll give you some Aesop potion to drink first, and some meat and bane. Soak the meat with the poison and throw it to the dog. He'll probably be locked in a pen somewhere. As soon as it's done, we'll disappear before anyone notices anything. I got paid well for it from the neighbors, so don't fuck it up for me. Yeah! Yeah! Lazy bones.
You're always welcome here, good sir.
Visar, my friend!
What do you want, Ignatius?
We were picking up some carcasses near...
Oh, Sakra! The dog isn't here. The door's open. Where did he run off to? Barking. He's coming from over there.
What are you doing here, Henry?
Bonnie? What are you doing here?
What are you doing here?
The gravedigger wants me to poison that dog.
Jesus! And are you going to do it?
Well, what else can I do? You're the one who sent me to Ignatius. You just tactfully neglected to mention that when you and Zinnek were acting as his hands, you robbed half the houses in the county.
Shit. It's all gone sour.
This is all I have left to do before he takes me to the Saltpetre pit.
And couldn't you find the pit without that? Just take a look at that poor creature. I'd like to keep him in place of my poor dead sniffer.
You surely know how to pick him. Your poor creature is terrorizing the whole area.
It's not the animal's fault. When Zinnek and I were here last, I saw how old Vysarik treats him. He doesn't give him food, he abuses him. With a master like that, he won't last long. You wouldn't kill a dumb creature just because its master is a sick horseman, would you?
Well, you don't have to convince me. Ever since the gravedigger told me to do it, I've been trying to figure out how to save that dog. If you want to take him, I won't stop you.
You're a much better Christian than I thought you were. I'll take him to the lair. We'll meet there.
Hurry off now, before someone sees us together.
Come on now, boy. You'll like it in the lair.
It's taken care of.
Taken care of? What do you mean?
The dog is dead. So, can we go to the pit now?
Dead, eh? And what are you so nervous about?
Well, it wasn't pleasant to watch. I did it exactly how you told me. I poisoned him.
Oh, aye. And how did it go exactly?
Well, I dipped the meat in poison. He ate it, and peacefully departed to doggy heaven.
So, it all went how it should. I use a real strong mixture so the creatures don't suffer too much. He's done for, the beast. Finally. Let's go before we start looking suspicious.
So this is it. This is the pit.
Slowly, boy. Slowly. Have a bit of respect. Death always deserves respect, whether it's people or animals.
I was expecting some huge hole in the ground. This is just some hollow. 3 piles of earth and that's it.
3 huge piles, you mean to say? True, it used to be one big pit. But then I found out when you pile up carcasses in smaller pits and throw some wet hay between them, it all rots better. And the better it rots, the more nitre you'll have. Are you going to take some right away?
I won't. The miller will probably send some people here.
Well, they'd better not dig it all up. That'd disturb the natural balance, see? And soon they'll find out there's no place to find saltpetre.
Well, I reckon I'm delaying the inevitable. I'll still have to taste it.
You're going to taste it?
It's the only way I can be certain it really is saltpetre.
God's nails. And they say I'm disgusting. Wait a moment. I've got a reward for you. Just so's you don't think old Ignatius and his even older nags is ungrateful riffraff. Take it as a thanks for your help. Maybe you'll take over my trade one day when I'm pushing up daisies myself.
Who knows? Maybe that'll really be my fate. I'll live at the cemetery, build piles of carcasses, and eat bread with saltpetre.
Here's something that'll definitely come in handy if you ever need to go through all this again, either with me or somewhere else.
Thanks.
Taste it then. Get to it. This I have got to see. You didn't have to make such a feast of it.
Look at me. From a lord's messenger to a taster of cadavers. Cold and salty. This must be it. If you're going back to your cottage, I'd like to take a ride with you.
Of course. But in return, you have to help me get all this lot buried. So there's some more saltpetre in the making.